Hello, people of Facebook. So, hope you can hear me. But I have been spending the last few days here at Funnel Hacking Live with Mr. Russell Brunson. I'll show you guys real quick. Look at how beautiful this place is. The event's like right up there. So, but a little bit of why I do what I do. You know, I was hearing Russell speak earlier this week, and he said something along the lines of explain to people why you're doing what you're doing. Not the reason of, oh, because I like it, not because it makes me happy, not because, oh, it's a good career choice. What is the reason that brought you to have to put this message out there for people to see? What made you want to create? And so I wanted to expand a little bit more on that. So obviously this is a page meant to kind of track my dance growth and where I go as a dancer, as a choreographer, as a person. That is the purpose of this. And the reason I started dancing, you know, when I think back to the reason, like, I have been dancing probably since I was born. I was a shy little kid. I never really spoke. The nickname for me was Tweety Bird because I would not speak up. And it was kind of funny to see because as soon as music started playing, like, I was a little happy feet who couldn't stop moving, and I would be so outgoing, and it was so interesting, I think, to my parents to see that this person who was just so quiet would just burst out into this big diva anytime there was music playing. And growing up, this is kind of how it was. You know, I started dancing at 8 years old, got into a little bit of hip hop and ballet, and that's kind of how it was. Like, when I was on stage, I was a diva. When I was off the stage, like, I was just this shy little girl in a shell. And one day I heard Beyonce speak. She had an interview and she was explaining Sasha Fierce, what that meant to her, like her album, who that person was, what that persona was, and what it meant. And she broke it down to kind of sounded very similar to my story of not having the courage in her own shoes to go on stage and do these amazing things and be this badass person. So essentially she had to create a different persona that was outside of herself, and when she performed, like, she stepped into this Sasha Fierce persona and then she killed shit, like, and that is who we saw perform. And she said, I did this over and over and over again until I got comfortable in my own shoes and I didn't need her anymore. Essentially, I became Sasha Fierce and I was a badass woman who became the Beyonce we all know. And when I heard this interview, like, it hit me, like, I don't need to just be a diva on stage. Like, I can be a diva in all of my life, and I could be confident in all of my life, and I could speak out for myself, and I don't need just this thing that happens on stage. Like, I could apply that to everything. And that's when things started to change. I became very outspoken for the people who know me. I am very opinionated. And I became this person who, as my friends describe it, walk around like my shit don't stink. And so it was funny that I understood that at such a young age. Like, I don't think that's something that many 11-year-olds are doing. But that's some kind of the confidence and identity that I found in myself. And so I continued dancing. I continued being a diva. And it probably up until high school when reality hit. I got to experience being pregnant for the first time and unfortunately also experience a miscarriage. And so experience that was probably one of the lowest points for me. And I had to learn how to be confident again after this point. Like, having my miscarriage had me realize, like, I can't just pretend to be confident. I fell in such a deep depression and became so sad that I wouldn't go to dance, I wouldn't go hang out with my friends, I wouldn't get out of bed, I wouldn't live. And I knew that something had to change. So my favorite dance studio, the Drop Dance Studios, shout out to you guys, ended up coming up with this thing one summer for classes, and it was called Ladies Night at the Drop. And I remember walking in very nervous. I haven't danced for a while. I wasn't comfortable dancing, and I walked in and was greeted with all these lovely women. I think my first class was taught by Stucky and then by Mo. They're wonderful to learn from, so amazing to watch. And I remember walking in and just like not feeling like myself and feeling so low and like not wanting to pick my head up and not feeling confident in myself. And as soon as that music came on, I was like a switch, and I remember feeling confident again. And that's something I hadn't felt in years. And it hit me. Like, dance is what not only empowers me, but makes me happy. And a little science behind that. When I took that dance class, I was like, why do I feel so good? Like, it was just a dance class. I just danced for an hour. Like, why do I feel so happy about life? So, of course, there's always a little bit of science to that. After doing some research, I realized that when you move around, you release some endorphins in your brain that essentially give you the chemicals to be happy. So when I learned this, I started implementing some different things in my life. I don't know if any of you guys have ever watched Grey's Anatomy, but I love my Twisted Sisters, and they always had a thing where they would dance it off. That's something that after that dance class I started implementing a lot in my life, of just realizing that sometimes you need to dance it off. So when I'm in a bad mood, when things aren't going right, when it feels like everything is just piling on and piling on and piling on, when I'm starting to lose confidence in myself, when I'm starting to lose hope in the world that we're living in today, like, I dance it off. And I do it because it makes me feel empowered and happy, and it releases those endorphins in my brain to make me happy. So I think I went way longer than I wanted to, but that is why I do what I do. Thanks. Facebook. So today is my last day here at Funnel Hacking Live. And I've been thinking through a few of the speeches we heard today. I'm really sad to have to leave this place. But I wanted to share with you guys, yesterday I spoke a little bit about why I dance, right? Because dancing makes me feel empowered and happy, and honestly, dancing is like the fiber of my being. But I didn't really share with you why I decided to go on this journey of growth. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about that today. So I guess before I started dancing, some history in understanding the impact that each and everyone kind of leaves on another person. That's something that I kind of understood at the age of 7 years old, you know. I think we were tasked at school with writing a paper about your idol, the person you looked up to the most. And I remember writing my paper and like feeling so proud. I was like, mine's Beyonce. Like, like she is a badass woman. She's killing things. Like, who wouldn't pick Beyonce, right? And so I remember going into class and then people started reading off who their idols were. People were like, my dad's my idol, my sister's my idol, my uncle's my idol, my coach is my idol. And I sat there and I was like, holy shit. I'm over to be this big and amazing thing to have somebody look up to you, but I was probably one of the only ones in my classroom that had an idol as a famous person. All the rest had people that they knew in their day-to-day lives. And that's kind of where it changed the game for me. So before, people looking up to me was just something that happened for, you know, famous people. The ones that were the hot shots, doing big things. And when people were really reading off, it was probably when somebody was like, my sister's my idol. And I was like, whoa. Sitting there like at 7 years old. I am the oldest of 4. And I have 2 little sisters. At the time, they were probably toddlers. And something clicked. I was like, obviously they look up to me. Like, I saw them as they grew, as they learned to walk, as they learned to talk. They learned through me. Like, everything I did, those 2 pairs of eyes were always on me, learning how to do stuff. And it was in that moment that I decided, like, holy crap, these eyes are looking at me all the time. Like, I have to be their idol. Like, I have to be the best I could be, because I know my sisters are always looking at what I'm doing. And I want them to understand that they can shoot high. This world that we live in, you know, when I looked up at 7 years old, it was kind of funny to see that I looked up and I didn't see people as idols around me. Like, I didn't look up to the people around me. Don't get me wrong, like, that realization, I was like, oh, my godmother's my idol. Oh, my school teacher's my idol. Like, it was the day-to-day things that people were doing that made an impact in my life. And so it was this shift that I took on. And from 7 years old on, I was like, I have to be the best I can for my sisters. There's no question about it. So I went on this quest to be great. And you know what's funny is recently I took on mentoring high schoolers, and in speaking to one of them, she's like, oh my God, like, you're so successful. And it was in speaking to her that it hit me again that it's these day-to-day things that I'm doing that people are looking up to, that I'm thinking, like, this is easy. Sitting in my chair yesterday, one of the speakers, Marley Max, made a statement, and it kind of sent chills down my spine because it was so true. And everything that I've done and everything that I've learned, she said, helping people doesn't stop just because your life isn't perfect. And I sat there and I cried because she was right. You know, I've had to deal with a lot of things in my life, and I don't think I ever stopped to think, like, is my life perfect? Like, it's just, okay, what can I do in this moment to make sure that that kid's okay? What am I doing in this moment to make sure that she understands that, like, this is a job she could do? Like, what am I doing in this moment to inspire the people around me? And these are, like, the things I think about every single day. And, you know, some of my friends are like, when do you sleep? And for all of my very young hustlers out there, shout out to Mr. Christian. He was like, we don't. You know, I have waken up at 5 a.m. probably every day this week and came to this conference, stayed, heard the speakers, spoke to the people around me, gone to bed probably at midnight every night, and then I've been waking up and doing it every day. Why am I up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday going to a marketing conference? Because I understood that I had a higher purpose than just doing things for myself. I need to inspire these people to dream bigger. So that's why I created this page. You know, in speaking to that student, she's like, your parents must be so proud, like, you're so successful, you have your own home, you have your own car, like, you're working, you don't even have a college degree and you're working, like, a real job. And I sat there and I laughed, and it's funny, these kind of achievements are like big goals for people. Caleb, one of the speakers yesterday, he spoke to the audience and he's like, I look around and I hear your guys' goals and it makes me so disappointed. And that's not to dismay from any of your guys' goals, but I hear your guys' goals and I feel so disappointed because my goal is to change the world. Like, I want to change the world for that little girl sitting back in that seat, and that's my goal. And there's no what if this, what if that. Like, I wake up 5 a.m. every day because I know that little girl's watching and looking every single day. And I need to shoot big because I need you guys to shoot big with me. So I went on this journey for growth and created this page to show the people around me that it doesn't have to be a Beyonce, it doesn't have to be a Russell Brunson. Today freaking Tony Robbins is speaking, and you don't even have to be that guy. You just have to be yourself, wanting to make a difference. That's all you gotta do. So if this page inspires just one person, then that'll make the difference that I'm asking for.
Hello, Facebook Live. I have been talking a lot to you guys this weekend. So, I mean, I don't apologize. I think this is all things you need to hear. So, to whoever's listening, I did want to share a little bit. You know, I'm running down to hear Tony Robbins speak. I'm running late because I had to run back and get my notebook. Lesson learned. Always make sure you have your notebook before you leave the hotel room. Anyways, you know, I spoke a lot about like why I dance, why I continue to grow in dancing, and why it's so important to me. And I'm sure like some of you guys are thinking like, yeah, like I get it, like that's very good for you, but like dancing means nothing to me. So I wanted to share a little bit about why I think dancing is so important. So about probably at the same time last year, my little brother AJ, he was 5 at the time, was going to start school. And, you know, dance was something that always got me very comfortable in my shoes. And that is something that AJ, I saw, struggled with a little bit. You know, at 5 years old, growing up with 3 bigger sisters, like, don't get me wrong, like, he is the biggest ladies' man. But when it comes to interacting with kids his own age, like, he had a lot of trouble. And so I was like, I have this little boy who's going to start school soon, and he doesn't feel comfortable going up to talk to kids. He doesn't like playing with kids. He wouldn't even tell people his name. And I remember I was like, I need him to be like interacting with other people. Like, so I took him to dance class. And it was in dance class that he became so outgoing. And I remember, like, he's probably in dance class for, I think it was 5 weeks at the time. And he cried the first 3 times that we went, of course, like any child kind of does. And it was probably the 4th time we took him. He was finally, like, kind of happy to go. And by the 5th time, I remember, and bless Ruben's heart at the drop, because, like, I don't think he realized how much impact he has in these kids' lives. Because he went around the room, like, every class, okay, say your name and your favorite ice cream color, like, or say your name and this, and, like, and I remember, like, every time hearing AJ, like, he was so quiet. And it was in that 5th dance class that, like, I always sat watching him, and then I saw him, like, sit up, and he's like, hi guys, like, my name's AJ, and my favorite ice cream flavor is strawberry. And I went outside and I cried because, like, that was something I never saw in him. And it wasn't until, like, I took him to dance class and he got to interact with these other kids and start to feel comfortable in his moves that he gained the confidence to be able to introduce himself in front of a crowd. And to Ruben, that was probably, like, something he saw throughout time, but to me, like, that was really big. So, I know you're probably thinking, like, dance is kind of weird, but I would encourage you all to, whether it be an intro class, whether you watch a video to learn how to do a 1-2 step, like, try it out and see how much confidence it can help you with. Thanks for listening.
Hello, people of Facebook. You've been hearing from me a lot this weekend, so, I mean, I said it earlier, I'm not sorry, but I wanted to do a live one last time, really quick. Let me just flip this around. It's just, look at how beautiful this is. Like, I don't know, I've been here all week, and every time I've been waking up in the morning, I'm like, wow. But anyways, you know, earlier I shared how my little brother also used dance to empower him, to bring his confidence up, to be able to introduce himself in front of a group of students. But I also wanted to share, like, things that people could implement in day-to-day. You know, I think in my last life I was like, I'm heading to see Tony Robbins. We just got out of Tony Robbins, and the thing that I've noticed that great speakers come and do is, scientifically speaking, your brain does not concentrate well after sitting for about 54 minutes. Like, this is a study that's been done over and over. This is scientifically proven. This is why most schools implement a 55-minute class, and then you have your period to go to the next one, because scientifically speaking, your brain has trouble focusing without having those movements in between. So Tony did this great thing. I had a live about that one in my personal Facebook, so if you have me there, you probably saw it, where he tells them to take a break and we have a dance party. And that's something that I kind of implement with the people I know day to day, but I wanted to go on live really quick and just encourage y'all. Maybe you don't want to take a dance class, maybe you don't want to learn a video, but man, if you're feeling down, just at least have a dance party. Or if you feel like, man, I've been working on this essay for 2 hours straight, like, get up and have a freaking dance party. I promise you it will change your life and make you feel so much better and so much more focused. But that is my last message for today. So goodbye, Facebook Live.